Welcome to the Run Cult podcast, where running meets the culture. I'm your host, Rebecca, and today our guest is someone who exemplifies leadership, purpose, and movement. Tes Sobomehin-Marshall is the founder and race director of Running Nerds LLC, the powerhouse behind the race, the largest and Blackest long-distance running event in the country, now in its 8th year. Tes has poured her heart into creating spaces that bring people together through fitness, community, and culture. Please help me welcome Tes, a wife, mother, and visionary, to the podcast. How's it going?
It's going well. That was a great intro. I like that.
Thanks. I made it myself. How are you? How was your morning? How was the commute?
It was good. It was good. Just coming off a full week of fall break with my daughter.
Oh,
reminding me how much work we put in the first 4 years of her life. She's in pre-K now, so we had her back home for a whole week, and I'm like, I love the schools. They're awesome. No, we had a fun week, but yeah, she was ready to go back to school.
You're ready. You're all ready. That's amazing. Nice. Well, first of all, did I pronounce your name correctly?
Got it.
Say it one more time.
Nailed it.
Tes Sobomehin.
Sobomehin. Emphasize the me. That's how I would say.
Okay. Now that I could have got down with.
Yes.
What is your background?
So my full name is Temilola Sobomehin-Marshall. So Temilola Sobomehin is my maiden name, if you will. It's Nigerian, so I'm my father's Nigerian, and Marshall is my married name. So my full name is Temilola Sobomehin-Marshall, but Tes Marshall if I'm just trying to get through the line real quick.
Got it. I was like, Temilola, Tes? Is this?
Yeah. It's derived from that. So
got it. All right. Very good to know.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the beginning, how you got into running, and how the race began for those who don't know the story.
I moved to Atlanta in 2010, and it's a long story, but the short. So I moved directly from Augusta, Georgia, but I moved to Georgia from the state of Michigan. So prior to even thinking about running, I was a basketball athlete. If you know anything about basketball athletes, we don't like to run. So I
actually played basketball.
Did you? So you remember, like, running was our punishment. It wasn't something
suicide.
All that. So I moved to Atlanta to kind of start life over again, and I was like, you know what? I've seen people, like, you know how you be sitting in your car and you see people run by you, like, I wonder if I could do that. I used to always have those feelings. So I signed up for a race I think still goes on, the Susan G. Komen Race for the Cure, and came to Atlanta because all I knew was, you ran for a cause. So that was my kind of like understanding of why you would sign up to run in the streets. So I signed up for that race in my first weekend here in Atlanta. I didn't know anybody else that ran. I had a friend who had run a 5K before, and I was like, well, what should I expect? Like, how long do you think it would take me? She's like, if you run the whole time, maybe 30 minutes. So I was like, okay, 30 minutes, 5K.
Got that.
So I showed up for the race. I remember I was wearing some biker shorts, because that's what runners wear, right? Biker shorts. And I threw my keys in my shorts. They didn't have pockets, so I'm like running with the keys.
Oh my God.
I think I had my phone in my hand. I had like a cut up shirt and some shoes.
Rookie.
Like all the rookie things. And I started the race. I ran. And it's funny because that race wasn't a timed race. Like, you know how we are now about getting our official times. It was just a fun run, raising money for breast cancer awareness. So that was my first race in 2010.
Oh my God.
And then I didn't run again until the following St. Patrick's weekend. And I signed up for the Shamrock and Roll 10K here in Atlanta. And it was with a group of friends that, were athletic. I wouldn't even call us runners even at that point. We just were fitness partners. And that was my first 10K. So I was like, okay, did 5K in 30 minutes, might as well do this one in an hour.
Right.
So I ran that one. And after that race, that's when I was like, you know what? I really like seeing myself improve. So true story, I had this thought in my mind. It would be cool to see more Black women running. I should start a group of Black women to run. And literally, like, the next day, I was on Facebook and I saw kind of an advertisement for ambassadors for a group called Black Girls Run.
Oh, wow.
And so I applied to be an ambassador for Black Girls Run. And as they say, the rest is history. I became a leader in the Black Girls Run Atlanta chapter. And we were one of the fastest growing chapters of Black Girls Run when they first established. Helped set up runs all over the city with Black Girls Run clubs, and some of those runs are still going on today. And yeah, that was the beginning of my personal running journey.
Wow.
And kind of leading into becoming a race organizer. I remember we had a Christmas run, and I was running all over the city. We started at Atlantic Station, trying to make sure that everybody knew the route. So our route took us from Atlantic Station through Piedmont Park and back. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm doing all this to get these ladies, make sure these ladies go the right route. I'm like setting up arrows and cones in the park in the middle of the night.
Oh my goodness.
And I was like, I should just put on a race. So after that run, it was a jingle jog. We called it a jingle jog. I was like, you know what? I should think of a place to just put on a race and see if we can like do an official race. Because we were doing races every weekend as part of Black Girls Run.
Oh, wow.
And so I was working at a private school in West Midtown, and on my way in to work, I just like imagined the finish line of this drive into the school. And I went to the administration. I said, hey, can I put on a 5K here? You know, I'll do a donation back to the school. And that was the first 5K, and we called it the Running Nerds 5K. So yeah, I mean, I'm skipping over a lot of kind of details that lead to that, but that was the first race. So 2010 was my first race. 2011 was the first 10K.
Right.
Started as an ambassador with Black Girls Run in 2011, and then 2012 was the first race event that I put on called the Running Nerds 5K. So I'll stop there.
We'll hold it there.
A lot goes on from that point on, but that's really how it all started.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So that's the beginning, because I was wondering how the race organizing started.
Yes.
So what does it take? What kind of planning does it take to even be a race organizer or director? Gosh. Excuse me.
Yeah, that's a whole nother podcast. So what I'll say is, you know, when I put on that first race, it was really just like, oh, this will be fun to put on a race. And it was fun, and it still is fun. But I learned from putting on that race, and that kind of snowballed into a series of races under kind of the Running Nerds umbrella. And then that led to people asking me if I could help them with their races. So I had to kind of put together like a race organizer package, if you will. And then that led to kind of bigger thinking on the events that I was putting on. But I learned really quickly that it was a business. It wasn't just fun on the weekends, you know?
Of course.
So I went through a series of kind of professional phases where I was working for folks and then putting on the races kind of like part-time. But I would say around 2015 is when I was like, listen, I need to get all in with being a race director. So the Running Nerds LLC was established in 2012, but I really got serious about like, this is what I do for it. And like, even being able to like claim what do you, when someone asks me, what do I do? I'm a race organizer, I'm a race director. That really came about between 2015 and 2017.
Got it.
Yeah.
Have you always been like a visionary, creative type of, or even like an entrepreneur? I'm hearing you use the words I imagined.
Yeah.
I had the thought. I saw myself. Tell us a little bit more about what that is.
Yeah, thank you for that question. Yeah. I definitely have. I've always been like an organizer and like to put like ideas in place. So for example, you know, I was a women's basketball coach in my former life. And one of my favorite parts of coaching was my camps that we would put on every summer. And that's really how I kind of envisioned my first couple of races. Like we would put together a theme for the camp and, you know, have all the aspects organized from like the T-shirts that the campers would get to where they were going to stay and accommodations and all that stuff. And then, you know, bringing in my team to be the camp counselor. So I was kind of like the leader of the camp. Even as far back as being in high school, I would start different clubs at my school and things like that, and want to be kind of bring everyone together through a common interest. So that's been something that's always been embedded in me from a child all the way through any professional. I've never worked in corporate America. So I don't know what it's like to be kind of like constrained on ideas. I've always had, even working in women's basketball, you were kind of like the CEO of your team. So you got a chance to have like creative license on how you managed your team. So that's always been kind of part of I don't know how I would function where I would have to follow like a standard that I didn't have some kind of creative license. Yeah. So that's the one aspect of race directing that I absolutely love, is the creativity, to be able to think of something and say, okay, I'm gonna do it. Sometimes it works. Most times it's worked. there have definitely been some times where people were like, yeah, Tess, that wasn't a good idea.
Well,
And
that's
you just
with
don't do it
anything.
anymore.
Don't do that again, sister. Well, I think that's amazing because that's kind of the through line. Yes, you may be, it has manifested now in this point in time as you being a race director, but as you said, you've had many different lives from the past. And even from being a student in high school to now, there's a through line of, kind of taking the leadership role, being creative, and expressing yourself and putting your ideas out and actually executing them. That's not typical. So I'm happy to kind of hear the background because it definitely adds more color to who Tess is. Perfect. Alrighty. So let's talk a little bit and jump into some of the other groups that you've partnered with. I did hear you mention being an ambassador for Black Girls Run. I've seen you in cahoots with Big Peach, South Fulton Running Partners, Atlanta Track Club, etc. Tell us a little bit about your history with all these different organizations and groups.
Well, yeah, of course, like I mentioned, I always pay homage to Black Girls Run for having the audacity to create a group called Black Girls Run, because it's like something that we can all identify with. Any group that exists today in the Black running space has to pay homage to Black Girls Run because they created a safe space for people to say, you know what, I want to give this whole running thing a try. But someone like me who, probably would have found running some other way. It made it so that we were kind of welcomed and given opportunities like on a fast track, if that makes sense. So that gave me an opportunity to create partnerships with Atlanta Track Club. One organization or company you didn't mention, Lululemon, they gave me my first ambassadorship and gave me so much opportunity to reach out to not only the running community, but the Black women running community. I mean, I've probably forgotten some of the events that we've been able to curate with the support of Lululemon. So
shout out to Lululemon.
Yes.
They also sponsor Run and Brunch.
Yes. Very grateful to Lululemon for, I would say probably over 10 years of support and partnership. Big Peach Running Company actually started as a guest advocate. I worked at Big Peach Running Company when I was first starting out. Actually, they were one of the sponsors of the first ever Running Nerds 5K. South Fulton Running Partners, the oldest Black running organization in the world. I've always been admirable of what they've been able to do in the running space, and they're the OGs of the Black running community. Building partnerships and creating opportunities for not only Black women runners, but just people who just even have the thought, I think I might want to run. Like, those are all, like, in my opinion, like grassroots organizations that create opportunities. And you might not even know that that's where it started. But, it's important for, I love the fact that your podcast is paying homage to those organizations that were doing the work even before, to be honest with you, before some of these runners were even born. These things were happening.
That's true.
Those partnerships are invaluable. Grateful. I know we're in an era now where like getting sponsored and brand deals are such a big thing, and it's great. I love to see us getting those brand deals and those sponsorships. But those were created with opportunities that came way before some of these brands were looking at us as commodities.
True. Amazing. Yeah. I remember I ran into you at Girls on the Run. I was volunteering, and I think you were setting up near the finish line.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my goodness, hey Tess. So you never know where you'll see this lady, okay?
Yeah, we are a proud race management company for Girls on the Run Atlanta. So
nice.
Yeah, we've been working with them for almost 10 years. So I told you, like 2015, that's when like a lot of things really just kind of started to take shape for not only me as a race organizer, me as a runner. I think I had all my PRs in 2015.
Oh.
That's where I met my husband, 2015.
That was a good year.
It was a good year, 2015. So.
That's right. Let's talk a little bit more and dig deeper into the race.
All right.
With everyone who was involved, funding, how did the race begin?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, I got to the point early where I realized, okay, this whole putting on races and being a race director, it's a business. There's so many aspects of it. that you have to consider in order to put on a successful race. Because we didn't want to just put on, fun runs that, and no shade to, one-off events, but we knew we wanted to have some longevity. But there was always this conversation in the Black running community about how we were growing and we were showing up to these races and really bringing so much energy, obviously dollars, to these race events. And why not think about putting on our own race? And for those of you who know me, I'm a doer. I don't like to talk about things too much. Let's do it. So I presented the opportunity to some key players in the Atlanta running community. Hey, let's put on a race. And I love to tell the story of how the name of the race came about. So it was a committee of 5 of us, 2 South Fulton running partners, Ralph Lyons and Booker Edwards, Darrell Patterson, who was one of the co-hosts of the Real Runners of Atlanta podcast. So shout out to Real Runners of Atlanta. And then myself and Shanta McMillan, who are Running Nerds LLC. And so we were having this conversation about putting on a race, and I put together a whole idea, a budget, and the race was actually supposed to be a half marathon. That was the proposal. Okay. Because we knew we could put on a 5K and people would show up for a 5K. HBCU 5K in Atlanta is still one of the largest Black-supported 5Ks in the world. Oh, wow. They continue to grow every year. But we were like, we got to get folks to come out for a half marathon. So we put together a Kickstarter campaign, which basically had asked runners from all over the world to pledge their registration fee. If we were able to get a certain number of pledges for Kickstarter, we would go forward with planning the race. So we kept, calling it the race as a placeholder. And then one day I was like, I kind of like that name, the race. Like, it's the race. And we knew that if we created a visual that was very powerful, we knew we wanted to use red, black, and green as the colors.
That is the Pan-African
flag. Pan-African flag colors, yes. And then also we knew that we wanted the R to be, recognizable all over the world. And I think we've done a great job of creating the logo, the colors, and then obviously the name, the race. Because once you get hip to it, you start calling it the race, not just the race. So anyway, we put together that Kickstarter campaign, rolled out the idea of the logo. You can still find our original Kickstarter campaign video on our website. I think Kickstarter still keeps the archives of everything there. And we just put it out there to the community and said, hey, listen, if you guys want to see us put on a race that supported, directed, produced as many aspects of Black-owned businesses we can produce this race, we're going to use them. There's still some aspects that, we just got to get stronger and get more depth in the world, namely apparel, metals, and even the paper that we're printing on. We wanted to get every aspect of the race Black-owned and Black-supported.
The branding is very strong, y'all.
Yes.
You will never miss it.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally for us and by us. So we launched that Kickstarter campaign in 2017. It was backed and supported about 2 weeks out before the end of our campaign, because the way the Kickstarter works, you set a dollar amount, and then you set a timeline in which you want to reach that dollar amount, and people are pledging. So if you hit your pledge, then everybody's pledges go through as a charge. If you don't hit your pledge or your goal, then everyone's, okay, we tried, we thought it was a good idea. And so we love that concept.
That's high stakes.
Yeah, and we love the concept because, I mean, I'll say to this day, if people wouldn't have wanted the race, I would have found something else to do. I mean, it's not, like I mentioned, back in 2012 when we first started doing this, it was fun, but it's work. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of moving parts. But we also wanted the people to take pride in producing this event and putting this event on. And to hear you say how, years, the fact that we just completed the 8th year of this event is still blows my mind. Because I can still remember our meetings, coming up with just ideas for the first event and how we've stayed true to the mission and purpose and goals for the race.
Amazing. All right, so that's how the race began, y'all. Just a innocent Kickstarter campaign.
Yeah, an idea from the people.
And did you all run with each other? How did you all know each other? Just
those our founding partners that I mentioned, we all knew each other through, going to run groups and races. Obviously, like I said, South Fulton Running Partners. one of the most welcoming run crews in the world. You can run with Southfield Running Partners every Saturday, rain, sleet, snow, shine. I think they only have like 2 weekends a year where they're not meeting up for a run, and that's one of them's the race weekend because that's their official run. I think they might have one other race that they support at that level. And then, Shanta and I have been best friends since we first started. We met at a Black Girls Run meetup, and she really couldn't avoid becoming my best friend. I was just like, you're fast, you're fun, let's be friends. But a fun story about Shanta.
Uh-huh.
When we first launched the race, we had another Black-owned timing company lined up to be our official timer.
Mm-hmm.
So remember I said we wanted every aspect.
Oh, right.
And that company decided not to move forward with being a timing company. So we said, okay, I guess we got to start our own timing company. So Shanta actually learned how to time races and became the official timer for the race. Our first year of operating, we call it Running Nerd Scores, or our timing division, was the first year of the race.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so
wow.
We created our timing. Now, I will just say, you said, I can look right here. We're not a timing company, okay?
Okay.
We have the ability to time our races and client races, but we're not a timing company.
Got it. But
sure
you have the ability.
Yeah, we can do
it right.
Yeah, and we're getting good at it too.
That is dedication, commitment.
Absolutely.
And taking one for the team.
And what is that? If you don't see what you want in the world, create it. Mm-hmm. I really love that aspect of our story, because we've created several aspects of business because we wanted to make sure that it was authentically owned and Black owned.
Well, that's definitely been done. Let's talk a little bit more about the race itself. Mm-hmm. What has the impact been? Who are the people that run this race? And how has it grown throughout these 8 years?
Yes. So, I guess back up, and what is the race? So the race is a half marathon and 5K weekend, produced, directed, and supportive of the Black community. It's truly a for us, by us event. When I say us, I mean Black people. But all are welcome to participate and have an experience in Black excellence. But it really was created to celebrate the growth and the beauty of Black culture and running culture and the intersection of the two. And so over the 8 years, we have a theme every year. Our inaugural year theme was legacy, because we knew the first event was going to be creating a legacy. And I think to date, we have about 230 individuals that have run and participated in all 8 events. We call those our legacy participants.
Wow.
But we wanted to create an event that Black runners and walkers could be proud of, they could get behind, that they would feel compelled to support, just like they support legacy events like New York Marathon, Peachtree Road Race. And we wanted people to feel like it was truly excellence. And that's what we aim for every single year. There's no reason why we should feel like we have to downplay or downgrade the race experience. But at the same time, we wanted it to feel like something you wouldn't experience at any other event, no matter how large or small. So that's been like the focal point every year. Mm-hmm. And we've been fortunate to grow in numbers every year. We went from our very first race was 1,400 runners and walkers between the 5. And it was almost like an exact 5K half marathon split. I think it was 700.
Oh, wow.
To this past year, past October, we had 2,800 runners. So we doubled.
Including me.
Including you.
Yeah.
Now, the key to that is the 5K is what's been growing like wildfire.
Oh, okay.
So we still got to get those half marathoners showing up and showing out. But what we believe is happening, we have some data to back this up, is that everybody wants to experience a half marathon at some point.
Okay.
But then after they do the race and do the half marathon, they're like, okay, we good. We coming back. But we're going to do that 5K next year. So I got to get the hard numbers on how many folks come back every year and do the half every year. And then we got some folks that bounce back and forth. So over the years, they're like, as long as I'm in the number, I'm there. But I got to get my mind right for the half, because it's not an easy half.
Let me just say, y'all, that was my first time doing the half with the race. And It wasn't hard, but it also wasn't easy.
It's not an easy course.
There are hills. The weather was very good this year.
Perfect weather.
It was very temperate, very good weather. So I can kind of see the sentiment, but just the
but
dog
you might
in
be
me
like,
want to do it again.
Next year, you'd be like, I'm gonna be there, but I'm gonna do the 5K.
Well, the dog in me wants another half.
See, that's the type of athlete we're looking for.
You know, if I was 10 years older, maybe 15, I could see, like, you know what? Got the t-shirt, got the medal, might just bump it back down. But as of right now, in this period in my life,
you got it.
I'm doing all halves. So like, I'm going hard.
I love the challenge.
For sure.
So so that's the idea of the race, and our goal every year is to expose as many Black runners and walkers to this event. You know, we know that it might not work out for, and remember, we're a national event. This is not, it's in Atlanta, but it's not an Atlanta event. So we have runners and walkers from, I think we've had all 50 states at some point represented, but we average about 40 states, and usually about 4 to 5 international countries will participate in the race. And shout out to our friends in the UK that support every year, in person and virtually. We've got a following in Jamaica. We've got a following in Canada.
My goodness.
To me, it's the legacy of Running Nerds LLC, this event.
Amazing.
Yes.
And let's just quickly touch on it's a 4-day event, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so what happens every day?
All right, so we open up usually on the Thursday of race weekend with a welcome night event. And that event has been well attended, particularly by our out-of-town guests. So a lot of people will get here on Thursday so they can settle into their hotel. And we have a welcome night event, and we usually host that at some type of Black-owned venue. So we've been at Pascal's in Atlanta. We've been at Atlantucky Brewing, which has a beautiful space. The last 2 years, we've been at the Gathering Spot. I think we may have outgrown the Gathering Spot this year, though, because that welcome night event was popping.
I was there.
It was popping this year.
Packed. And we were singing our hearts out, too.
Yeah, we had a great time. So the welcome night event, and that's also the time for me and my team to kind of just do a big, I call it the kickback before the turn up, because we have worked very hard up to that point, not only physically, but, you know, emails and all the things, you know. So, and then on Friday is a full day expo from 11 to 7. This is packet pickup. This is meet and greet. This is a speaker series. This is a stage series. This is a wellness, physical fitness series. This is supporting Black-owned businesses that have come on as exhibitor partners. It's a full jam-packed day. A lot of our out-of-town folks will come, get there at 11 and stay all day.
Yeah.
But we do curate a full day, so you can kind of pick and choose when you come. And of course, you know, you did our live podcast. We brought the live podcasting back this year, which was really fun.
Thank you for having me again.
Yeah,
appreciate
vibes, music, just a whole day. And then we do end that at 7 o'clock so that you can go home, because remember, we got a race the next day.
Right.
So on Saturday is the 5K and half marathon, which kicks off at 6 in the morning with our pre-race festivities. The races start at 7. And then historically, we haven't over-planned Saturday, because we do know a lot of people are coming from out of town. You might have family, friends. You might want to do some sightseeing. We've tried some different events on Saturday, but we usually leave Saturday kind of open for people to do whatever they want. Some people just need to recover for the rest of the day.
Right, I know I did. Wasn't that bad.
But we love seeing like different organizations and groups have their own like kind of meetups and different pop-up events, unofficial events, if you will. And then on Sunday, we ask everybody to come back and do community service in our Community Impact Service Day. On Sunday morning, we curate 10 projects all over the Metro Atlanta area for people to sign up and serve. And then we finish it all up with a wrap-up party on Sunday. So, and that's been traditionally hosted by Monday Night Brewing, who's been a legacy partner. They were a Kickstarter backer in our first year. Very good friends with the owners of Monday Night Brewing, and they, you know, they're kind of like, in my opinion, like the running nerds of the beer industry, because they kind of like started things and gave lots of opportunities for small businesses and small organizations. And as they've grown, they've continued to grow with us. And I love, and that's another partnership that, you know, I should have mentioned in the beginning, like seeing that they're more than just, you know, hey, here's a beer. They're community-based and community-driven.
Amazing. Got it. So if you guys are interested in signing up for the race next year, it is a full 4-day
Yes.
weekend. So get ready.
Yes, it's more than just get your banana at the end.
Right.
Your t-shirt. No. Yeah, we want you all
we're
in.
dancing. We're having a good time throughout it all.
Yes.
So let's talk just a little bit more about the route.
Okay.
As you had mentioned on the last day of the race, not only are we doing community service around the city, but during the race, especially with the half marathon, we are running in these Black neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Tell us why that was important.
Well, again, if you go back to our original Kickstarter, one of our missions was to support Black-owned businesses, neighborhoods, and charities. That's in our mission statement. And we knew that we needed to run through some of the areas that you don't typically see runners. Now, that's changed a lot in 8 years. We've had the Atlanta Beltline develop more in some of the neighborhoods. A lot of the neighborhoods that we run through are experiencing gentrification. But the thing that I love about those neighborhoods is the history is there. It's going to stay there, and it will always be there. So you can look at the history of neighborhoods like Sylvan Hills, Adair Park, Oakland City, West End, Westview. We run through the AUC. So no matter how those neighborhoods will look in their residency, the history is always going to be there. I'll never forget in our first year, someone had said, well, how come we're not running past, the World of Coke and running? I was like, you can sign up for any of the other half marathons in the city and run through those. I mean, I love those areas of our city, but these are parts of the city where we live, where we need to see runners and walkers using those paths and trails. The West Side Beltline, which we run about 3 miles of the half marathon on, I used to live in the West End, and I would go out and run and walk on that Beltline stretch before all the businesses and cool stuff was there. And it'd be me and one lady walking her dog. And I could run 3-4 miles on that stretch and never really see anyone. So the fact that we have all these race events going on and, our race as a signature event on the Atlanta Beltline, and shout out to Atlanta Beltline, who's another huge partner and supporter.
Thank you.
I think it's beautiful what the race and other race events have done to bring visibility to just active Black people. Like, I love the fact that there's a stretch in the West End where our race is literally just running down a residential street. So, that little kid who's, just went to the kitchen and get some cereal on Saturday morning, is seeing people running down the street.
So true. Or you'll see the middle-aged lady in her robe.
Yeah.
I've noticed that when I was running. I was like, drinking her coffee, just watching us, and I'm like,
what's going on?
This is nice.
Yeah. And I want to give a pay homage to the Savannah Half Marathon that used to take place, a full marathon. It was a rock and roll race, and it used to take place every November. And I'll never forget the first couple of years I ran that. There's a section of that race where we would run through, I guess, the Black areas of Savannah. And it was always so interesting to see, like, just like you said, people just out on their porch, and they come out and they be like clapping, but also like, why are all these people running down our street? And I remember when we were planning our course, I wanted that experience for our Black runners in our neighborhoods, because it just hit different for me as a Black runner to be running through those neighborhoods than probably some of the other runners, if you know what I mean. So I love that, creating those experiences and opportunities. But the thing about Atlanta, it's a very Black city, as we all know. I mean, we could have done about 10 different routes and, kept
Still
it.
hit them. Yeah.
Like, we really need like an ultra marathon to hit all the neighborhoods. But, the race will be a half for the foreseeable future.
I'm barely making the half.
I know, right?
Amazing. All right. Well, that is most of what I wanted to chat about. So let's get into some of the funner things about Tes.
Oh, goodness.
Tell us about your love for beer.
Yes. Well, I kind of got into craft beer just as a, go to the grocery store or the local bar and you see like the cool looking cans and the cool looking taps and things like that. So started just trying different beers other than, your Miller Lite and Bud Light and things like that.
What's your favorite brand?
Well, I mean, if we were gonna go with like commercial stuff, I can take a Blue Moon anytime. I love Blue Moon.
Got it.
Which is considered craft beer, but not really, because I think they're owned by like one of the big distributors. But in terms of my love for craft beer and how that developed, like I mentioned, Monday Night Brewing is in West Midtown. Our first race ever was the Running Nerds 5K, which is also in West Midtown. And after, I think, the second year of the Running Nerds 5K, I was approached by the Monday night team, and they said, hey, we got a new brewery we're opening up in West Midtown. Would you like to put on a race that ends at our brewery? I was like, okay, let's stick a pin in that. Let me get through this next event. And I went to and had a meeting with Jonathan Baker, who's the chief marketing officer for Monday Night, one of the founders. And we came up with this race idea of running a 10-mile or 10K on the west side. We called it the West Side 10, and we could not avoid the hills of the west side. So we just decided to just double down and just make it like the hilliest, most awful course. But it would finish at the brewery.
Oh.
So that was our first race in partnership with Monday Night Brewing, and I think that was 2012. And, you know, hanging out at the brewery all the time, I just started to just love the culture of like being at a brewery, having a good beer, learning different beer styles. Again, they're like community focused. Was just really cool. Like you could go, kids could be there, dogs could be there, games could be going on. People were having, you know, weddings, party. It was just like a cool environment.
Wow.
So I think it was just like, you know how like when you get into running, it becomes more than just about the actual run.
Right.
It was the same thing with, you know, being around the breweries. And I actually developed a taste for IPAs because I was just in the brewery so much.
Really?
And anybody knows anything about like beginning of beer, like no one really likes an IPA when they first try it.
What does it taste like?
It's very bitter.
Oof.
Yeah, because it's got a lot of hops. But that's how I used to be. But now, like, I look for them on the menu.
Oh my goodness.
And then I also did an internship with Monday Night Brewing during 2020 when everyone was looking for ways to be diverse,
okay.
equitable, and inclusive.
Oh, interesting.
Remember those days?
I remember those days. I think
And so they put together an internship program to kind of like increase diversity in the beer industry. So I was their first kind of like experimental intern, and got a chance to be involved in all different departments. And what I came out of that internship knowing was that I did not want to brew beer. I just loved the business side of it and drinking beer. And I also found out I was pregnant with my daughter during the internship. So the drinking part kind of got cut short. But I just really love the concept and the growth of the brewers. And this was back when Monday Night at that time had the 2 local tap rooms.
Okay.
So of course, you know, Monday Night Garage and Traybert, which is now the Grove. But just to see their growth over the past, I guess that would be what, 5 or 6 years. I think they have like 6 or 7 locations now. Ooh. So yeah, so that's how it kind of got started. But I have an appreciation for all different types of beer. I love the craftsmanship of it, if you will, and then just the communities that the different breweries bring.
That sounds just like running. That's
yeah,
crazy.
Definitely.
All right, let's talk about your experience running the Boston Marathon.
Yes.
How did that come about?
So I'm a marathoner. You know, I claim to be a marathoner. I was on track. My first marathon was 2012, the Chicago Marathon.
Oh.
And I was on track to do 1 marathon a year. And of course, we know 2020, COVID happened. So that kind of 1 marathon a year kind of got halted. And then I also had my daughter in 2021.
Oh, okay.
And so I kind of lost some motivation for going out and running forever, because that's basically what marathon training is. You're leaving the house for hours at a time. So I didn't run another marathon until 2024. Yeah. So 2024 was my kind of like comeback to marathoning. I did London Marathon last year.
Oh.
And so kind of got back into the rhythm of marathon training. So the opportunity in January was presented to run Boston Marathon and also fundraise for the Race Foundation. So the Race Foundation is the nonprofit arm of the race. This is where we fund all of our community service efforts, our volunteer efforts, and our support of Black-owned small businesses. Mm-hmm. And so I got to run the Boston Marathon and raise money for the Race Foundation. And it was awesome. So, you know, getting back on track, and you know, Boston has its place in the running world. You know, I had absolutely no qualms about being a charity runner. It was awesome. I felt like a sponsored athlete. Okay. Because, you know, every time someone made a donation to the Race Foundation,
right.
You know, I thought, I have to do this for the people who are supporting.
We're counting on you.
Yeah, so we raised a little over $11,000 for the Race Foundation through me just taking my time and running the Boston Marathon. It was a good time.
Amazing.
Yeah.
You know, you're speaking to a Bostonian.
Yeah.
I was born and raised in Boston.
Great city. We had so much fun there.
Oh, nice.
Yes,
Very good.
definitely want to go back. What neighborhood?
I'm from Hyde Park.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a city suburb, if you will.
I love it.
Very immigrant heavy community as well. So, yeah, all right. And then you did mention a couple times you are a mother, you are a wife. How do you balance it all with your entrepreneurial rock star lifestyle?
So here's the key. You have to give everyone in their family jobs, and then it all balances out. No, I'm kidding, but at the same time, I'm serious. So, well, obviously, when me and my husband met in 2015, that's a big year. You know, I was deep into my own running. You know, I was race directing my events and so he knew what he was getting into. Like literally our first date
when you met me.
Yeah, he knew what it was. So our first date was the day after like a 5K where I think it was still my PR 5K. And so, you know, he got an earful of it. Actually our first meetup, I was actually out of town at the Seaweeds half marathon in Vancouver when we first started actually communicating. So our first like 3 or 4 conversations were through Facebook Messenger. Because I was like, I'm not making international phone calls. So anyway, so he's great. His name's Malik. He actually DJs a lot of our events. He got into DJing through, you know, I knew he had a love for like creating playlists and things like that. So one of my races, I was like, can you create a playlist for this race? So he did that, and then he downloaded some like DJing software on his computer, and he like DJ'd through his computer. So one Christmas I bought him a controller. I was like, learn the skill, and from there he's DJ'd just about all of our events. He DJs at the Race Expo every year and the Welcome Night event. And he's just become a sought after DJ in his own right. Amazing. He has a full-time job, so the DJing is his kind of his passion. And then of course, you know, our daughter, she's developing into a little presenter. Did you see her do her little stage presentation? So after you remember she kept walking up on the stage, right?
Like on the
So after you guys were done, I think Dane got on the stage and she hosted a whole little like tiny tot podcast of her own on the stage. It was the funniest thing. Oh my God. But she's a great little star. Her name's Isla Rose, and those of you who have been to any events, you've met her. And then my mom, she actually runs the store at the race every year. So she's been involved, and we just make it a family affair. And, you know, I definitely love and appreciate my husband because he knows like the peak times when we're like super busy and getting prepared for a race. You know, I can become race director Zilla sometimes. So he knows how to deal with that. You know, Isla's got both grandparents in town, so that's been really helpful. So yeah, it takes a village. You know, she's got a whole village of TTs that look after her and take care of her, and she's gonna definitely grow up with, you know, knowing that, you know, her mom and her whole family was involved in this whole,
for sure,
you know,
started a whole movement.
Yeah, and she's gonna inherit a lot of cones and clipboards. So be ready for that.
Well, put them to work. Yes, that's the secret. Got it. Alrighty. As we wrap this up, tell us a little bit more about your hope and wish for the race in the future.
Well, I mean, first of all, I just want to say thank you for, you know, allowing me a chance to come in and talk to this audience. I think the Run Cold podcast is going to be kind of that next step in introducing Black runners and walkers, or all runners and walkers, into this beautiful community. And as we both have stated, you know, running is so much more than the race itself. You know, this can be an opportunity for people to overcome life challenges, move them from one place in their life to another. So we look at the race as just one of those events that, you know, you can either put on your bucket list or put on your goal list or put on your, this is what I'm going to do every single year and work my way up to it. You know, we have a few runners that like this is their A race every year. And that means so much. You know, we had the opportunity to welcome a couple of elite athletes to the race this year. Sika Henry, which was amazing. I never forget when I saw that she was registered and coming to the race. I was like, oh my God, we got Sika Henry coming. Those of you who don't know Sika Henry, that's a Google for you.
We'll put her
Yeah.
information in there.
So we're going into year 9.
Cool.
And do I want to give a sneak peek of our theme for next year is going to be establishing the roots that we've created for the race. So that's just a sneak peek. You can say you heard it here first. But we're looking at year 10. It's coming up, and that's going to be a big year for us. So my challenge to everyone, if this is your first time ever hearing about the race, check it out. Check out our Instagram, TikTok, website, YouTube, and see and visualize what it is, and make it a point to come and celebrate with us. And those of you who have come 1 or 8 years, thank you, and just keep spreading the word. Keep telling someone about the race, represent, and continue to make it an event that we can all be proud of.
That's right. In closing, on behalf of the running community, not only here in Atlanta, but across the country and the world, thank you, Tes. We cannot thank you enough for your service, your commitment, and dedication to the running community. Thank you for all that you do to inspire and encourage the next generation. And remember, y'all, running is not just a sport, it's a culture. Until next time. Thank you so much, Tes.
Oh, you did good. Girl, we could have went so many directions, right?
I'm telling you.
I'm just like, when I start talking, I'm like, Tes, just ring it in, because there's so many things that go through my head.
Well, that's why, I was like, you know what, we gonna give this.
You did a great job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I tried to hit, what are people gonna want to see? What is something a little different that people might not exactly know?
Yeah,
so I tried to do
Your questions were excellent.
Oh, thank you.